Triumph Martial Arts. I'm Karl L, Chairman and CEO of Team KDI. We're joined today by Mr. Matt White, the founder of Triumph Martial Arts and a longtime instructor of both Krav Maga and Taekwondo. Matt, welcome.
Thank you, Karl.
Tell us a little bit about how you got started with Triumph Martial Arts.
Well, I've been training in Taekwondo since I was a teenager. I had an opportunity to instruct about 14 years ago, and I've been doing that ever since.
We'd like the opportunity to take you inside of the martial arts studio here at Triumph and give you a couple of demonstrations that include both knife and gun techniques. So come along and follow us.
Okay.
One of the benefits that we have of traveling around the country, being able to do these type of demonstrations and such, is that we have found many practitioners, many instructors of martial arts that are more than willing to go ahead and help us with the demonstrations that we're trying to do. And this time, being here in being here in Des Moines, Iowa, we've been able to be lucky enough to find Triumph Martial Arts and Matt White. So come on in with us. We're going to go ahead and begin our demonstration in here. Matt, if you would go ahead and take the knife here, I'll go ahead and take the gun. We'll position ourselves over here in this area. The first demonstration I would like to show you is if you are attacked with a knife. Matt has a knife. I have the gun. Matt is the suspect. I am the officer. So my goal is to defend myself from his knife attack. Now, we will show you how close the distance is that can be covered from a knife attack to a gun and what a disadvantage I am at when that happens. So from this distance here, Matt, pull the knife from the back of your trousers there and simply attack me, and let's see how difficult it is for me to get to my gun. You see, by the time Matt has already closed that distance, I do not have time to retrieve my firearm and return fire. Once again, he's going to show you how easy it is to close that distance. And once again, I do not have time to get to my weapon. So what I'm going to do this time is I am going to lower my profile, because the knife fighter is dependent upon you being in this area for him to be able to attack. What we're going to do now is change the angle of his attack to make it more difficult for him to attack me. We're going to do this slowly first, and then we will speed it up. So from approximately the same distance, Matt is going to initiate his attack. As he initiates his attack, I drop to the ground. Now, by dropping to the ground, this is forcing him to redirect his fighting position down toward me, which makes it very awkward, doesn't it? Making a knife attack at this angle. As I continue here, I am going to continue to roll on the ground and now return fire to him with a knife. Now, if you'll notice, I have my weapon on the suspect. If he is going to cut me, what does he have to do? He has to completely lean over to try to make contact with me while I am continuing to shoot at him. This puts the knife attacker in a very, very awkward disadvantage. So we will demonstrate this again for you. As he begins to close the area, I am going to drop down, begin my attack on him as he comes at me with the knife. Once again, I am putting bullets into him as he is trying to get down here. Now, Matt, let me ask you this question. How awkward does it it seems to have to attack me from a low angle like this.
Well, it's very awkward.
Very difficult to do.
I was expecting to be here, and now I have to change my ankle down, and I wasn't prepared.
So from here, a knife attacker would feel that they are in a position of advantage.
Absolutely.
So you can cut on me all day long. But as soon as I lower my profile to here, I'm forcing you to come at me. And now I have that advantage. Very good. This time we are going to put some speed behind what we're doing and see how that works. So Matt, initiate the attack. And as you can see, the disadvantage is again for the individual wielding the knife. The second demonstration we would like to do is some clarification about knife attacks. The whole purpose of a knife attack is to be very close to your subject. So time and distance are very important. If he were to remain right here and keep his feet right there, he is absolutely no threat to me at all. Slash your knife at me, keep your feet right there. He is no threat to me at all. So distance is very important. So I never want to be up close to someone. Conceal your knife in your trouser. I never want to be up close to somebody and dealing close with someone. Because if I am this close, he can readily grab his knife and cut me. So I always want to maintain a distance from the person, from the suspect, right, that may possibly have the knife. As soon as I identify a threat and see that he has a knife, I immediately want to build distance. And building distance isn't good enough. I also, as you saw in the last drill, the last scenario, I must change my angle to remove the advantage from him to be able to get a lower angle to shoot into the suspect. Now, let's say I do not have a gun, and Matt has a knife. My best advantage here, if I am not close to him, is to run. Exit the area. Completely move out of the area and not try to engage him, if that is my option. If I am close enough to him that he pulls the knife on me, all of my attention must be paid to that knife. Now, many martial arts schools teach you different techniques to try to grab the knife, to try to disarm the person. Let me tell you from my experience working on the street, there is no perfect answer to this. What you must do, though, is you must focus all of your attention toward the knife. And I will tell you this. Once you are able to get hold of the knife hand, however that is, you can roll your body into his body and forcing the knife away. Do not try to contend with someone with a knife where we are now trying to force muscle against muscle trying to deal with this. I do not want to be in this situation here, trying to force him with my force against him. I want to use leverage. And leverage will say secure the knife, roll my body into his, stripping the knife away from him. Now, he might be much stronger than me, and in this situation, he will overpower me, and he'll continue to stab me. But no matter how strong he is, it will be very difficult for him to control my entire body weight against him and stripping the knife from him. So I have nothing in my hands. The suspect has a gun pointed at my back. If he has the gun away from me, I am at a great disadvantage. The best thing that I can hope for is that he will place the gun directly against my back, because then I of the gun. The first thing I am going to do is try to occupy his senses. I am going to begin to speak to him, which will occupy his sense of hearing, and I will also begin to move my hands, which will occupy his sense of sight. So as I'm occupying these two senses with him, I am aware of where the knife is. The first thing that I want to do is move out of the way of the gun. So I am going to pivot toward the arm in which he holds the gun. So I will pivot here. Now, at this point, if you pull the trigger, are you any threat to me at all? He is no threat to me at all. If he pulls the trigger right now, as you can see where his gun is, he is no threat to me. So as I pivot here, I will do the same technique that I showed you with the knife. And if we can move the camera around to the other side here, we will demonstrate this. So as I continue to pivot, I am simply going to follow his arm to the weapon and once again throw my weight against him to break the weapon from his grasp. Let's try that again. He has identified where the weapon is. I will begin to speak to him to occupy his sense of hearing and do my hands to occupy his sense of sight. When I am prepared, I will pivot toward the arm that has the gun. I will follow through down the arm to the gun, force my hip against his body, and strip the weapon from him. Let's do that one more time with no narration. We are here. Let's do that one more time. We are here. Pivot, strip, and come back. Just like this. Again. Pivot, strip, secure weapon, and come on.
Imagine that you have both a knife and a gun, and the opponent has nothing. But of course he can pick up a stone or stick and attack you. What you will do?
He has a knife and a gun, so he would have the knife put away. He would probably only be using one weapon. Once again, a disarm technique is going to be the best option that I have. However, I can get this weapon away from him here. Now, ideally, I do not want to use his weapon because I don't know what condition it is. I don't know if it's loaded. But if he brandishes another weapon at that moment, I have no choice but to utilize his weapon. Now, I think the key here is to not overextend yourself. If I am able to take his weapon from him, I do not want my arms stuck all the way out here. Because if I do, what is he then able to do? He is then able to take the gun away from me or deflect it in some way. So once you disarm an individual, however that disarm might be, you want to take the weapon and bring it in close to your body. Bring it in close to your body. I can still have a good target acquisition on the suspect, but the weapon is close to me. So if he tries to come for this weapon, I can simply move him back and remove my position, redirect my position. Let's say the attacker picked up a stick off of the street. I am armed with a gun, and I am armed with a knife. Now, understand, for us, the knife is secondary. The firearm is my primary weapon. The knife is my secondary weapon. So the knife I would position somewhere in a secondary position. But if I am attacked and I feel like I'm threatened with my life, I'm going to use my gun. I'm not going to use my knife because the knife is simply a backup system to my gun. So whatever it might be, if he is coming with me with the use of force, I want him to first get back. I want him to be on notice that he needs to stay back away from me. So my hand comes up in the universal symbol for stop. I tell him to stop. I tell him to get back. Get back. Get back. As I position my hand on my weapon. If he continues to pursue me, I have given him notice to get back, to stay back. Now, let's say this is a baseball bat. You have to ask yourself, can the baseball bat cause me lethal injury? Yes, it can. If he were to strike me in the head with this baseball bat, it could kill me, correct? So, I am being faced with lethal force. So as I tell him, get back, get back. If he continues to do this, then I am authorized to employ lethal force. And I would utilize lethal force against him. Only in the event that my weapon were to fail, it jams, it doesn't work, for some reason this isn't working, then I have my knife to utilize as a secondary weapon. Then I have my knife to utilize as a secondary weapon. I want to do everything I can to clear the malfunction with my gun to make it work. But I am going to have my knife available to me if I need to utilize it. But only as a backup to my original gun. Only as a backup with my off-gun hand will I utilize my knife. My gun is my primary weapon.
The attacker has absolute advantage and he has the gun in one his hand. He has knife in the other. You have empty hands and you don't know what he is going to use. What you will do?
If a knife and a gun are both present and I have no other weapon, if I have to confront him, the most logical situation is for me to retreat, for me to leave the area if possible. But if I have to confront him, the perfect opportunity is for me to retreat the area if I can. However, if I cannot, I am going to focus on the most lethal of the weapons first, which is the handgun. The handgun is going to be the first one that I am focused on. Now, this is a very, very awkward situation because he is going to try to employ both of those against me. So I am going to have to hope that I can secure this gun first, utilizing him as he is using the knife. But, as anyone will tell you, when you are confronted with a knife, be prepared to be cut. That's part of the defense. Now, I will put up my arms like this, so he is cutting in this part of my arm versus like this. If he cuts me here, it could be a very lethal cut because I will bleed extensively. If he cuts me here, the only thing that is cutting is muscle. So it has to do with how you present yourself in a knife attack. But here, in this very unusual situation, I would first try to secure the weapon and then mitigate the situation with the weapon while he still has the knife. Under no circumstance am I going to think that I can take both of these from him. Focus on one thing at a time, and right now I am concerned with getting that pistol away from him and utilize this in the attack.
The attacker is holding a knife in your neck. How you will act?
I have nothing and he has a knife.
Yes.
Once again, my focus is going to be on the knife itself. So as I am here, I don't want this knife to cut me. So I am going to focus my entire weight, my entire presence on this knife, creating distance in this knife so he's not going to be able to cut me, and doing the same thing, rolling my body out away from this knife, utilizing my body weight, stripping the knife from him, and then preparing my defense or my offense at that point. Once again, if he has me all of my attention is going to focus on the knife itself. I don't want the knife to get close to my neck. So all of my weight comes to the knife. And then I roll my body, pivot my body out away, and take the knife from him. This way, he is trying to combat my entire body weight. From here, I roll my whole body. Now he is trying to control not just my hands, but he is trying to control my entire body. As I roll out from this, away from him, and take the knife with me. Once again, though, in knife defense, I have to have the psychology that there is a possibility I will be cut, but do not give up. Do not give up the fight.
Let's imagine that opponent is attacking you with a knife from the corner and you have empty hands. How you are going to do?
He has given me the option here of distance. So if I see him coming with a knife, what am I going to do? I'm going to run. There's my option. He has given me the option to get away. I have no desire to fight someone that has a knife. Understand that. If he comes at me with a knife from a distance, I'm going to remove myself from the equation, from the situation. There's no reason for me to fight him. I have no reason to do that. So I am going to run. Everything that we teach is based on situational awareness. This is not being cognizant or aware of situational awareness. If I have allowed myself to be in a corner, this makes very, very bad planning on my part. I should not place myself in a corner. However, if this does happen and the situation exists where I am in a corner and I am attacked, once again, once I identify the threat, I am going to focus on the knife. I'm going to focus on the knife, control the knife as best I can, and utilize my body, yet again, to strip the knife from him, and I have the knife here. So the big lesson here is situational awareness. I should never place myself in a position where I am in a corner. Why would I do that when I have all of this area to move around? The only situation I can think of perhaps would be in an elevator. So we are in an elevator situation here, in a lift, in an elevator, and the person draws the knife. Same thing. I focus on the knife, not on his face, not on his body. I focus on the knife. I secure the knife, and I use my body weight against him. I don't need a lot of room to do that. I merely need to use my body to force him away from the knife and secure the knife myself.